And the good news is today I'm joined by my friend Lewis Crompton, and he's a specialist at helping people trade the financial markets to make passive income in only, listen, 30 minutes a day. 30 minutes a day. Can you do that? Well, if you can do that as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, you can now create passive income. You're not relying on one source of your income, which is the working income. So let's tune in, stay on, and listen to what Lewis has to say in terms of how you can do that so you're not worried about money. Lewis, welcome. Welcome to the Business and Wealth Show.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited for this, actually. What a great intro. And who doesn't have 30 minutes a day?
Yeah, you exactly. Everyone's got 30 minutes a day, but so what we're saying is instead of spending it on Netflix for 3 hours, get 30 minutes for your own financial success, right?
Exactly, exactly. If you're going to spend time doing something, it may as well make you money.
Exactly. And the good news about Lewis being on here is not just another educator helping people trade, but he's been trained by the Rich Dad organization. And if you know the Rich Dad organization and Robert Kiyosaki's organization, it's all about creating your own economy, not relying on the economy and the government, but creating your own economy so you have more money, more wealth, and financial freedom. So let me say, Lewis, why should anyone stay on this call and stay to the end?
Well, first of all, I think it's hopefully going to be entertaining.
Okay.
Second of all, I think there's going to be nuggets I'm going to share as we go through. I mean, every time we chat, there's nuggets of inspiration that I take from you that we just drop in the conversation, realizations we each have as we're chatting. So that's going to be quite helpful for people, I think, as well. But also, I am a business owner. I understand the business game. I've been in business for a very long time now, in various different types of businesses. I also do property investing. I've got multiple streams of income. And trading for me was always the foundation and the core. After a few failed business attempts before learning how to trade, I mean, I had a food truck and things like that, which didn't
Oh,
do very
wow.
well. And then discovered trading. And if we're talking about building your own economy,
Mm.
something that isn't reliant upon what governments are doing, what's happening in politics, what taxation laws are changing or happening, and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And the best solution to that question that I know of or have ever found is trading. Because although you're trading financial markets, you can make money as markets are going down as well as markets are going up. So it really doesn't matter what's happening in economics or anything. You have a skill set that you can generate an income from.
All right. On that note, we're gonna go deeper on the trading and the financial markets in a moment and your expertise. But often on these calls, I like to spend time talking about your entrepreneurial background. What was the journey? What happened? Because the reason why I do that is because some people who either want to get into business or in business at points, they realize that things are not going as planned and things are going sideways or things have gone south. And people like yourself, myself, and others kind of have a way of pulling out of that and continue. And these obstacles and challenges will always come up. So, what was your journey? What happened with you?
So I've just always liked working. And when I say working, I mean being productive. I say that and I can hear my dad saying, all you ever did was play computer games. But I was playing computer games where there's progression. So I always wanted to progress, I always wanted to learn, I always wanted to develop. And I realized when I was probably about 15, 16, that the computer games were a false, I don't know, trade-off, not to use a pun of trading, but they were a false mirror of what you could be doing in your real life to have progression and progress. So
Yeah.
I'd play The Sims and you'd control someone and you'd help them get promoted at work and make sure they're okay. And I was like, why am I doing this for these electronic things and beings rather than doing this for myself and for my own life? So I decided at about 15, 16 to stop playing computer games because I felt like they would give me a false sense of achievement and development and I wanted a real one. But even when I was 13, I was doing a paper round because I liked money. I wanted money, and money just always to me meant freedom of choice. I didn't have to ask my parents for money to go to the shops or buy a packet of crisps, obsessed with packets of crisps. And so I
Yeah.
didn't have to have anyone limiting my decisions if I had my own money. So money was always equated for me with freedom. And so from the age of 13, I was doing a paper round. Like I said, at age 16, I decided to stop playing computer games. And I would just always be with one of my friends, best friend, a guy called Stephen. He was best man at my wedding. I was best man at his, known him since day dot. And we would just, he's a very, very smart, intelligent man. He is entrepreneurial in the way he thinks, but he's never necessarily done anything with that.
Right.
But we would always sit in restaurants and talk about what we would do to improve it. Or we'd be on the high street and we'd look at empty shops and think, what kind of shop would go in there? Like from the age of about 15, 16, those are the kind of conversations we were having. And then I tried a few different things. I had a shoe shine business when I was probably about 15 as well. But it just felt like too hard work. And I was like, this isn't a great return on my time or for my money. I don't really enjoy that type of work. Then when I was 16, 17, I realized I really liked helping people. So I started doing things which would allow me to help people. I was a youth worker and I grew
Okay.
teams. So I was intrapreneurial within the church context. And I was, I suppose, evangelical, going out there, bringing people in, putting on events, that type of stuff to help grow this thing, see progression there.
And you need marketing skills, you need sales skills for that
Yeah.
kind of stuff,
Yeah,
right?
all of that stuff. I mean, the church is amazing for teaching you some of those kind of foundations, but also giving you a moral compass for doing right by people and not screwing people over in business either.
Yeah.
And just little things like that is where it kind of started working and happening in my brain. And then when I was 18 within the church, I trained as a counselor, kind of taking that, wanting to help people to another level. And then I built a whole business around that. And so I had international clients over the next few years. In my early 20s, I wanted to try a physical product business. I say physical product. I tried a food van. I took it to a music festival and I did everything wrong.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely everything wrong. And I probably lost about £5,000 on that one event, which wasn't a massive hit because I had saved that money up. It wasn't like debt or bank loans or things like that. But
Right.
I learned an absolute ton. I was sleeping in the back of the van every night with the music event, getting up super early, working super late. I was like, oh, I'm not lazy like people have said I am. I just need to be passionate about the thing that I'm doing.
Mm.
And I was super, super passionate about making this thing work and seeing progression. So I did all things wrong. Supply chain was a mess, overpaying for things, didn't even consider negotiating, hired this big old van thing as well, which wasn't necessarily the worst decision because it meant I could trial the business. Yes, it cost more to do that, but trial the business, see how it operated, see how it worked, see if I wanted to do it longer term, rather than buy a van, be all in on this thing, and then
Oh,
think,
okay.
oh, I don't actually want to be doing this, or oh, it's not as profitable as I thought it was. And there was other things like the organizers of the event said I would be the only type of my food van there. I
Mm.
wasn't. All these little
Um,
bits and pieces that you kind of learn on the slippery slope of growing business and understanding business. So that's kind of a lot of my background, and then started investing in property as well in my mid 20s. So now I've got a property company, I've got my education company, I've got my own trading, and I do still do a bit of coaching work as well with people. So yeah, lots of streams of income coming in.
this is very apt because there are people listening in who probably no, they've got their main business, um, and they're looking at investments. And so what I want to talk about is financial markets.
Yeah,
Why should one be in the financial markets and use those instruments as an investment tool?
yeah. It's a really good question, and I almost half want to flip it on its head. And why wouldn't you be? So,
Mm.
as a very, very base, no skill whatsoever, absolutely no knowledge, you could be making an extra 10% per year on average. And that is over like a, say, a 10-year period, say, because we know markets fluctuate. But on absolute base, knowing absolutely nothing, stock market returns, if you just put into what's called index trackers, which say track the FTSE or track the Dow Jones, you just put a lump sum in today,
Mm.
wait for 10 years. On average, you would have grown 10% per month. That's what the data shows us has happened before. Yes, past results are no guarantee of future results, but that's no skill set, no nothing, no understanding. What I can teach people is to do that 10% on average on a monthly basis, not a yearly basis,
Oh,
which sees massive growth in your trading, in your account growth rather through your trading. So why would you not be? And that 10% growth, I mean, that is not going to happen in month one or month two, but you're looking around about 6 months to 12 months, you could be hitting 10% per month. Really, I have people aim for from 5% to 10% on a monthly basis. That's very realistic. But even if you were doing less than that, even if you're only doing 2% per month, that still, if you compound it, is 26, 27% per year,
Yeah.
which is way better than 95% of property investments, way
Mhm.
better than any bank account. And it's
Right.
still only
Yes, it
taking you
is.
30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you be? Yes, okay, you have to put the upfront skill set learning into place, but guess what? When any business you've ever done, there's a load of skills you have to learn, you have to master, you have to develop, and you do that because you're thinking about what it can give you after.
Wow. Okay. So can anyone learn the financial markets? Can anyone trade? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Many years ago, when I was still an employee working in corporate, and I was fed up working. I only lasted 10 years, by the way.
Yeah.
And then I started my own business. But before that, I was looking at what to do, what to do. I don't really like working in this place. Gives me good money, company car, all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so I started to learn back in those days, I started to learn about the financial markets and trading. I learned about options, various derivatives, futures. So I was trading those things and I made money, then I would lose a ton of money. Then
Yeah.
over time, I thought, no, this is not for me. So I stepped away. So I understood that. So can anyone learn and succeed in trading?
I used to say yes, and this is
Okay.
maybe a little bit shady and mean, but I have met some people, and the answer is no.
Okay.
And the reason I
Oh,
say that is because you do have to have a base level of intelligence
mm,
where you can pick up patterns and you can follow a system. So if you can follow A, B, A, B, most likely to come next is A, B, you can
right.
trade, in my opinion. However, I have met people who struggled with that. And that's not to be mean, it's just unfortunately that some people's brains are wired differently, right? We're all wired differently. We've got different styles of intelligence, different types of intelligence. So I would say 99% of people, yes, can trade. You do need to make it a priority element in your life, like going to the gym. If you want to get in good shape, you need to make the gym a priority in some capacity. So you do show up each day doing the thing you need to do. So although it's only 30 minutes, you still need to turn up on that daily basis in order to become successful. If you're really not able to do that more consistently than inconsistently, then trading probably isn't for you. And there's different times of people's lives where it's a good point to start and not a good point to start. But I also think that really comes down to choice. You choose, this is the thing you're going to focus on, this is the thing you're going to learn, and then you can make it happen.
So you say there's a good time to start. Oh, for some people, a good time to start, and some people it's not a good time to start. What are some of the scenarios or circumstances why they wouldn't start?
If you have literally not got 30 minutes a day,
Okay. Okay.
then that's not a good time to start. And there is various different points in people's lives when that might be the case. So if you've just had a newborn baby, the next few weeks of you starting to
Mm,
trade is probably not the best idea as you kind of
mm,
get used to that new reality.
yeah.
If you've just started a brand new job, then it's probably not the best time for you to start trading for about, I'm only talking for like a month period as you kind of settle into that new world. Now we have people who are on our mentorship programs, they change job and they say,
Mm,
look, I've got a lot going on. And we just say, totally get it. Pause your mentorship for a month and then come back in a month when you've settled into your new reality. That's totally fine.
yeah.
The other time I think it wouldn't be a good idea to start mastering the skill set of trading is if you are heavily in debt and your financial ship is sinking.
Right.
And the reason I say that is because I don't want you to have financial pressure on your trading to have to perform. So if we can take that out of the equation for now, steer the ship, right the ship, stop it leaking, get yourself on a stable level financially, and then look to master this skill set of trading, which is the same way you probably wouldn't tell someone who's in £20,000 worth of debt and struggling to pay the bills every month to take out a big loan to do a property investment. It's just not a
No,
good decision at that
that's
point in
right.
your life.
That's
So you
right.
need to have that financial foundation set in a good place, in a good position to then add in these other forms of investing.
Thanks for that. So, Lewis, let me ask you something. I'm going to put my cynical head on because we have people in reality, in life like that. And I'm going to put my devil's advocate head on, which says, Lewis, come on, 30 minutes a day and 30 minutes, and you're going to show me how to start making 10% returns each month. Really? If that's the case, why aren't the banks doing it? Why am I?
Yeah.
They are? Okay,
They are.
tell me more, tell me more. So that's I know it works, but tell me with my cynical head on, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's I mean the banks is a really interesting example to use there. I thought you were going to go down the route of if it's that easy, why doesn't everybody do it? Well, it's simple, it's not necessarily easy. They're different words.
Right.
So when you know what to do with trading, it is simple. The bit that isn't easy is your emotional management and your
Mm,
mindset management. That's the tricky part of trading. Which is why we spend a lot of time training people on mindset basis to execute the strategy correctly. So why aren't the banks doing it? They are. What do you think they're doing with your money? How do you think they're able to give you a return? And they say the same, the banks or the powers that be, shall we say, love to put out there that property investing is risky, setting up a business is risky, investing in the stock market is risky. Guess what they're doing with your money? All
they're
the
doing
things
the
they
same.
tell you is risky. Why are they telling you that? Because they want you to leave your money in their bank so they can use it to do what they want to do, and you're not using it to do what you want to do. Because the more people who are too scared to invest, the more money they have to invest. I've never
Right.
actually said it like that, but that's what's going on. That is exactly what's going on. So the banks are doing it. The banks are making an absolute killing. I have become over the years connected with some very, very wealthy people, very, very smart, intelligent people. I can't remember the name of it, which is going to really annoy me, but there's this particular type of bond which you can buy, which is a Forex bond. And when you buy it, you only have to buy it for, I think it's a couple of weeks, maybe a month. And at that point, it's basically the bank's trying to clear money that they've bought at a certain price. So
Oh,
you could put in like 500,000, and you need big money to be able to do this, which is why most people don't know about it. 500,000, but you'll get back in a month's time about 700,000. So you've grown in a ridiculous percentage for doing absolutely nothing by helping the banks clear this money.
wow.
It's
Okay.
absolute madness.
Yeah.
But you have to know the people who know the people who can get you into that kind of deal. So yeah, the banks are doing this every single day. They just don't want you doing it because they want to have access to your money.
Hmm. Right. I'm going to take it another way. Thanks for that. It's very succinctly put in terms of, what the banks are doing that you could learn to do as well. And they haven't got they can't maneuver as well because they got certain restrictions. But as a person doing it as an individual, you've got probably more lateral movement,
Yeah.
which is good. Now, the thing I want to say is this. I understand the 30 minutes a day. I understand if someone's listening here, they want passive income through. Can someone become financially free using the system that you teach? By that I mean financial freedom for me means not relying on anyone else for money. So to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, wherever I want, with whoever I want, whatever. So that's what it and, yeah, and recently I was talking to Keith Blackborg, and he doesn't even use that term. He uses a term work optional. Work optional. I thought,
Yeah.
wow, this is different. So
Yeah.
by that he means that work if you want to,
Yeah.
your business if you want to, spend time with your relatives or your aging parents if you want to. Work optional, and
Yeah.
which I call financial freedom. So can anyone use your system for work optional or financial freedom?
Totally, yeah. And we've got loads of people that have. And that's why we run free masterclasses, free seminars, mentorships, and things like that as well, is so people can do that.
Mm,
Now, what I will say is I don't I don't buy into fully passive income.
mhm.
So if you have a property portfolio, my property portfolio is 95% of the time passive. There's still 5% I need to do stuff, got to sign paperwork, check in with my letting agent, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But 95% of it is passive. And that's the same with trading, except for the difference between trading and property is it is all me. So if your definition is I don't have to rely on anybody else, 100% we tick that box with trading. It's just you and the market.
Right.
Um, and then in terms of the passive, well, it's not entirely passive, it's semi-passive, it's 30 minutes a day. But then you can do whatever you want after that. So it's semi-passive. Yes, people can use it. We tend to get people trading live if they're on a mentorship within about 2 months. really, really confident and using all of our strategies around about the 6 month mark. So yeah, it's totally possible. And we've got loads of people who've left their jobs, they're supplementing their income. They wanted to quit their jobs, realized they don't hate their job, they were just stressed out financially. Now they're
Oh,
not stressed out financially, so they're quite happy in the job, paying vet bills, paying their way out of debt. A few stories of that. How they got into debt, I don't know. HMRC stories.
oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
Helping their kids get on the property ladder, buying their dream car, things like that. So yeah, it's totally possible.
All right, let's talk about, many years ago when I started my very first business, 24, 25 years ago, 1999, 2000 time. And I thought, well, I'm going to become rich through business. I'm going to work, and I worked hard, I worked hard, I worked hard, and it wasn't working. I made a ton of mistakes. I fixed it later on. But but where I really made serious millions, where I really made serious amount of money was in real estate property first,
Yeah,
then later through business,
yeah,
right? And so sometimes the plan we have may not get you to what I really realized working hard in that business is what I was really looking for was freedom. I wanted more time with my family, my young kids at the time, my pregnant wife at the time. And so the strategy changed from working hard in business to let me acquire these real estate properties. And at that time, I learned some techniques about no money down. So I thought, well, I'll go all in on this. And it worked very well for me because in those days, they were pre the prime, subprime markets. They were giving loans and mortgages to anyone. So I could acquire properties very quickly. And
yeah,
that worked very well. Where I'm going with that is this. Later on, then I looked at trading, and I also went back into trading, went back into crypto, went into cryptos and everything else. So we've got business, we've got real estate, we got the financial markets and cryptos. Now, where do all these things come into their own when it comes to creating income and creating wealth? Because some of those vehicles you can use for wealth accumulation, and some
yeah.
of them are really for cash flow or income. What are your thoughts on those things? Because I'm involved in all of them, and I know you're involved in many of those as well.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant question, and I think it depends on how you use them. What I would say is because you can use property, for example, to generate lump sums of cash that you
Hmm.
then store in other places.
Right.
So I kind of do it the other way around. So I generate most of my capital through trading, and now from my business, but originally through trading, and then I put that into property for a longer term buy and hold strategy. So I wasn't desperate to get all my money out of
Hmm.
property deals. I wasn't desperate for massively high ROI. I just wanted steady cash flow that comes from them, but always to stay in the company. So a longer term build. Whereas if I did flip deals, and I've done a flip deal before and lost a lot of money rather than made it,
Hmm.
then I would be using that vehicle, that investment vehicle, for the purposes of cash flow lumps sums that I could then use for investing in other ways. So trading for me is such a fantastic cash flow vehicle because you are growing your capital by 5% to 10% per month once you know what you're
Hmm.
doing. And then you can take that capital and invest it into all these different places without your core capital ever disappearing, which is a very cool function to have. So yeah, I think it's a very good question. For me, trading fits into, because we're shorter term traders, we're not buy and hold for the long term,
Okay.
shorter
Okay.
term trading. Um, that very much falls into the cash flow, which we then diversify into other asset classes.
Very nice. Very nice. I can see what you're doing. So the question I wanted to ask you, which I'll ask in a moment, maybe as a closing question in a moment. But what I want to say is, those of you tune in, I hope you're getting value out of this. I hope it's opened up your mind. I hope it's you're looking at it from a different point of view. Because often we just look at maybe you're running your business or you're starting your business and you're just focused on that. But at some point, there are ways of creating money. There are ways of creating wealth. So if you're enjoying this, make sure you leave some comments, ask Lewis some questions on this. Leave some emojis. You know the algorithms loves engagement, and so help us out here and put some comments in and also share this with your friends. Share this with your with your associates, your partners, and family as well. Lewis, is there anything I should have asked you during this conversation that I haven't asked you, which is relevant for people to know about?
I think bearing in mind that everyone is a business owner or really into mindset and entrepreneurial stuff, I think it might be a good question to ask why I set up a business teaching people. I think that's a
Okay.
good question.
So yeah, so let me ask you that question. So Lewis, out of interest, if you've been involved in business and real estate and you're trading for yourself, you're making money, why have you set up an education company and been teaching thousands of people how to trade as well? Why have you been doing that?
What a surprising question. Thank you for asking. Um, so, I mean, I do sometimes get the question, well, if you're such a successful trader, I'm sure you hear this as well. Why are you teaching other people?
Yeah,
Well, I was like, well, first of all, it's not everybody's bag to teach other people. That's fine. But just because it's not your bag, you're not bothered about helping other people, doesn't mean it's not other people's. The core of me has always been to help others. Now, what I always point people to is remember my trading day, my actual own trading, which I still do every single day, only takes me a maximum of half an hour. So then I've got the rest of my day to do something. Why not do something which hits my core being, which is helping other people, and helps me generate income for myself, for my family, and allows me to help other people in a different way as well. So why wouldn't I? And people are like, well, why don't you just go and travel the world and sit on beaches and blah, 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 blah. Well, I've done that. I've
yeah,
done all of that. And I got
me
very
too.
bored.
Boring,
Yeah,
boring.
and it's such a first world problem thing to say, but I'm so sick of airports. Like I'm so done with going to an airport. But yeah, I mean, I'm off to Morocco next week and Monaco the week after, so I can't be that sick of them.
Hard
So
life.
I've done the travel thing. I've done the partying it up in Singapore and Shanghai and all of that sort of stuff. I've done all of that travel thing, and I wanted to fall back into my passion, which was helping people and um, uh, making sure they're able to empower themselves and live a better life. So I think there was an old Oxfam advert which was if you give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. If you teach a man how to fish, he'll eat for the rest of his life. I'm very
Mm,
much into teaching people how to fish. The whole goal of my business is to make people not need my business. That's the entirety of its mission, to make people's lives better, to empower them so they don't need us.
perfect. Nice answer. I love that. Those who love what you're saying, want to catch up with you or connect with you, what's the best and easiest way for them to do that?
I'm very active on Instagram. That's probably the best social media to get me on. So my name there is at with WITH Lewis Crompton. I am blue ticked, so be careful. There's a lot of people pretending to be me. I'm sure you get the same as well,
Oh,
Mac.
terrible.
Or you can contact me through my website. And if you like the idea of finding out how this trading thing could work for you, I'd highly recommend coming to one of our 60-minute masterclasses. They're complimentary, they're packed with value. I do tend to overrun more than 60 minutes because I get excited and carried away, but they are about 60 minutes. So people can join us on one of those as well.
What's the website address?
You can either go to www.lewiscrompton.com or you can go to www.startradingnow.com. And both will be places you can find out about me, get in contact with me, and find out about our training as well.
Superb. On that note, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for the insights and those nuggets that often people don't hear in other places. So thank you so much for sharing that knowledge. Really appreciate it. And thank you for jumping on with us here. Thanks, Lewis.
Absolute pleasure.
Until next time, we'll speak soon. Again, if you love what you've heard, make some comments, leave an emoji, give us a thumbs up, share this, and follow and subscribe depending on what channel you're on. Mac Attram here, the business and wealth coach, checking out with Lewis Crompton. Bye for now. Take care, guys.